You're watching Youth Dialogue by Brian Muli. In the house today, we have honored to invite a serious guest who is a youth policy analyst, a student at Catholic University of Eastern Africa. Welcome to our show, Joshua Korir.
Thank you for having me.
You have the panel.
Thank you. My name is Joshua Korir. I'm a student at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. I'm a youth policy analyst. I'm also an entrepreneur on the side. And it's good to be here. We've done this before. And it's good to be hosted by you again.
Okay, I have hosted you so many times.
Yeah.
But I'm happy you're back again.
Yeah, thank you.
Now on serious issues.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Joshua, using the experience you have in politics, do you believe in Kenya Kwanza government?
I do believe in Kenya Kwanza government.
What makes you believe in it?
And that's why I'm a member of the United Democratic Alliance. And the reason why I believe in the Kenya Kwanza government is because we have seen what they've been able to do in the past.
Yeah.
And when we look at these campaigns, for example, they have run their campaigns on the basis of a manifesto, a plan, and a promise they have made to Kenyans. So that is why I have a belief that this government is one that is going to perform.
You believe it will deliver?
I believe it will deliver. It has already delivered.
Yeah.
It delivered from the first day. You remember, immediately after being inaugurated, our president appointed the 6 judges.
Actually, the judges that were rejected by the former Jubilee government,
by the past regime. Yes. So he appointed the 6 judges. He gave the police financial autonomy. He increased the budget going to the judiciary. Now we have 4 million Kenyans who are going to be removed from the list of CRB, and the CRB will be restructured. Yeah. We have seen a lot of changes. And
okay, Mr. Joshua, maybe to cut you short, and sorry for that. Talking about this Kenya Kwanza government, it made so many promises during the campaign trail.
Yeah.
So many goodies. And Kenyans were promised many goodies. And in fact, if I'm sure enough, they said that in the first 100 days of their government, Kenya will start enjoying life and they will do away with some of the problems that are facing Kenyans. Do you think these promises that were made by the Kenya Kwanza government, now that they have been given the sword and the knife to cut the meat and share to Kenyans, do you think this meat will be given to Kenyans equally?
Yeah, I think Kenyans are going to enjoy the meat. Hii nyama tutakula. And I think you've asked about the 100 days.
Actually, the first 100 days.
And I remember.
Yeah.
I've read the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza. Okay. And I hope you've read it too.
Okay, I've gone through.
And you know the plan goes for 5 years.
Yeah.
It is not only limited to 100 days. And we have seen the president and his deputy work to deliver even before having a cabinet in place. Yeah. These are 2 people in government, president and his deputy president, without a cabinet. And they've done what they've been able to do. They've already given us subsidies for fertilizer, and this fertilizer has already gone to the farmers. Yeah. The police, the state of the police is being reviewed. 4 million Kenyans will be removed from CRB. We have financial autonomy for the police and the criminal justice system, and the judiciary has also been sorted. So if 2 people can do this within 2 to 3 weeks, what do you think they'll do within 100 days, a year, 3 years, 5 years?
Okay, talking about the government, Kenya Kwanza government. We had so many governments that Kenya has had. Now this is the 5th government under President Dr. William Samoei Ruto.
Yeah.
Comparing to other governments, the Moi era, the Jomo Kenyatta era, the Uhuru Kenyatta era, which many call it the handshake government, I don't know. All those governments. Yeah. Do you think there is a big difference between the Kenya Kwanza government and the rest of the government that Kenya has experienced so far?
Oh, yes.
Where does the difference come?
The difference comes that there has never been a government
in our republic.
Where...
What do you mean?
No, I'm finishing my statement.
Okay.
Where Kenyans have been hopeful, expectant, and have been passionate in terms of voting for them and starting to ask for them to deliver what they promised. Yeah. You remember, they've been in government for less than a month and people are already expecting delivery. Yeah. That means Kenyans have a lot of hope in our president and his government. Yeah. It is not about Kenyans being impatient or anything. It's the hope they have and the capacity that they understand he has. That is why they are pushing him to start delivering for them. And I believe the only government that comes close to this is the Kibaki government. I believe what we are going to see within these 10 years will be miraculous.
But Mr. Korir, unajua wakati unatongoza msichana, wewe unaenda na maneno matamu. Unamwambia utamfanyia hiki, utamnunulia hiki. The moment anafika kwa nyumba, some men ignore what the promises they made. Kwanza kama ushazana the moment you impregnate her, then she delivers children to you. You forget all the sweet words and the promises you made to her. Do you think the Kenya Kwanza government used all those sweet goodies and promises that it made to Kenyans only to win votes?
In this case, who is this woman? Is it the Kenyans?
Now the woman are votes, Kenyan votes.
The voters, yeah.
Then the Kenya Kwanza government is the husband.
And who are the children?
Then these are the children are now the Kenyan themselves, or the Kenyan economy. Do you think that the husband, the Kenya government under President William Ruto, and the wife, who are the Kenyans, will enjoy those promises at exactly how he made them?
I think they will.
They will.
I think they will.
So
our president is a gentleman, and for anything, you know, if you, for example, the analogy you've used of bringing a woman into your house, I think if you bring a woman into your house and it's a woman who behaves the way women should behave, you have no other option. You'll have to deliver. And I think as Kenyans, we have to keep the government accountable. And that is why the president talked about a responsible opposition. So keeping the government accountable, that is how we're going to get the promises that they made to us.
Okay. Talking about, now let's come into our real discussion for today, whether you believe in Kenya Kwanza government promises and whether those promises will actually be delivered to Kenyans exactly on how they were made during the campaigns. Because this is not the first time Kenyans are experiencing these goodies and sweet words from politicians. Uhuru came with the same words. He did not deliver all of them. Kibaki tried, but all of them were not delivered. What these people do, the moment they come, they say, give me more time, I will deliver. The first time was not enough. The second time, I will deliver. When the second time comes, things start changing. The marriage start breaking. The wife and the husband start pushing each other. Now you get that children are not enjoying the peaceful family. The marriage that was started long time ago has become now a problem. Using such, do you think that the Kenya Kwanza government, the promises it made, Kenyans will have them? Maybe to highlight one promise that was made, that 500 billion shillings will be set aside and be given to small-scale business farmers to help them, the so-called the bottom-up. So to help them come up and also be somewhere else. Then, but there is a problem whereby these small-scale traders are complaining that they are not so sure how these funds will be generated into their accounts for them to fulfill the bottom-up approach and also them to be called somebody somewhere else. So do you think that the bottom-up approach or these funds for the hustler, if I can call them hustler funds, will reach those people?
I think you've asked me a lot of questions, so you'll give me time to answer them.
You have time to answer
one at a time.
Okay.
From the first one, whether I believe this government is going to perform. I know I'm a good student of history. I
believe in you too.
Yeah, I am a good student of history.
Yeah.
And if you look at the past, we can look at the past achievements of our president. When he was a member of parliament, I don't know if you know this, but he worked hard without the provision of CDF.
Who?
The current president, when he was member of parliament. When he was member of parliament, he worked hard to ensure that the schools in Eldoret North were concrete. So he mobilized resources and talent without having CDF to ensure that the schools in his constituency were in good shape. We also look at the time where he was Minister for Agriculture.
Yeah.
He brought a subsidy
Yeah.
for fertilizer.
Yeah.
Fertilizer was, I think, 2,500 shillings.
Yeah.
Very affordable for farmers. It was a time where the industries of Mumias, Nzoia were performing well. And they were actually making profits.
During those eras?
During his era.
Yeah.
As a Minister for Agriculture. Yeah.
Okay.
Then he came to the higher education.
Yeah.
He reduced the amount of time that you used to go to campus. I think you used to wait for 2 years before joining campus.
Exactly.
Now you're done with campus, a few months. You're done with high school, a few months, you're in campus, you're studying.
Yeah.
Yeah? That is when he was a Minister of Higher Education.
Yeah.
We come to him being the Deputy President. Within the first term, we saw a lot of development. And it's in public domain.
Yeah.
That in the first term when he was the Deputy President then, when he was active in government and took part, we saw a lot of development and a lot of planning.
Yeah.
So if we look from the past and we see what he's been able to do, this is a man who is on a mission and a man who is going to deliver for our country. I have no doubt.
You really believe in Kenya Kwanza government?
I do.
Why don't you believe in the opposition?
Because they are the opposition.
Okay.
They are not government. I cannot believe in them. How?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that question systematically and chronologically. Now, talking about fulfilling the promises that were made to Mwananchi or to Kenyans. You know, these promises cannot be made or be fulfilled without the hard working of the cabinet. 3 days ago, we saw President William Ruto now unveiling the real cabinet, which will assist him to deliver or ensure that service delivery is now delivered to Kenyans as it was in the campaign trail. Looking at this cabinet, first of all, do you think if I remember very well, Mr. Korir, that the president said that in his cabinet, when they were launching their Kenya Kwanza convention, they said that the Kenya Kwanza government, immediately Kenya gives them an opportunity to serve them for the first term. That 50% of it will comprise of women. Then other ministries will go to the youth because they believed, they sold their agendas telling Kenyans that hii ni serikali ya mahasla, hii ni serikali ya mama mboga. Looking at the cabinet, do you think that this trail, this constitution, the constitutional whatever for 2/3 gender rule was fulfilled in the cabinet?
Before you go to cabinet, you talked about Hustler Fund, and it's 50 billion that will go to the Hustler Fund.
I think it's 500
no,
billion.
It's 500 billion.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at that, the system that will be used is that before you can access these funds, and you know one of the problems we have with informal financing is that if you're a mama mboga and you want a loan, you cannot get it from the bank because the bank will want security for their loan. So you go to a loan shark. This loan shark will charge you 10% per day. So if you borrow 1,000 shillings, by the end of the day, you'll pay 1,100. At the end of 2 days, it's 1,200. At the end of 5 days, you're paying 1,500 on a loan of 1,000 shillings. So that is 3,640% a year. That is not sustainable for anyone, anywhere. So the reason why we have Hustler Fund is so that when a mama mboga needs a loan to improve her business, she can go to the Hustler Fund in a way that is systematic. She gets the loan, she comes and does business, then gives the loan back at a very small interest rate, very small, that will be friendly to them. Another thing about the Hustler Fund is if you have a youth group and you're running a business, you have a circle, maybe mama mbogas in a soko, they decide, they come together and they start a circle and they do savings. So if you need a loan to run a project, you go to the Hustler Fund, you get the funds, you come run your projects because the rates will be friendly for you to run your financial projects. Another thing about the Hustler Fund and the difference I believe it will make is every mama mboga did not grow up saying, I want to grow up and be a mama mboga and sell mboga in
The streets.
in the market and in the streets. They had dreams. So if they can access funding at a rate that is friendly to them, this will ensure that maybe there's a mama mboga somewhere who wants to own a shop that sells utensils or clothing, or maybe they have a skill like they can design clothes, they can do sewing. So it will be an opportunity for them. They can take that loan, come, open their shop, do their business. Then after they have done their business, they can get money from that, then improve and grow. So that is the whole point of the Hustler Fund and the whole idea of bottom up. It does not mean that you remain a mama mboga forever or you remain doing boda forever. There are people who have graduated and they have ideas, but they had to do boda or any other business that is that we look at as being at the bottom because they do not have options, both financial, majorly financial and any other option.
Okay, Mr. Korir, before you respond to my question of the cabinet, you have a good point on the Hustler Funds. Maybe on your point on the Hustler Funds, kuna huyu mama mboga ambaye yeye ni mama mboga wa village, hajui, anasikia tu kuna Hustler Funds, hajui atazipata vipi, she don't know how these other mama mbogas are getting these Hustler Funds. What is needed from this mama mboga to access the Hustler Funds? Like, does she just need to start selling mboga? Then selling mboga alone qualifies her from accessing the Hustler Funds?
As I've said, there'll be a systematic way for them to access the funds. And it will target MSMEs. So there'll be a systematic way that will be, I believe, will be given in due course. So there's no reason to be wary or to...
Okay, mama mboga mesikia habari ndo hizo, kuna Hustler Funds. You can use the Hustler Funds to grow your business. Serikali sasa wanasema ni ya mahasla. Okay, Mr. Korir, thank you for responding to that question. Now, coming back to our discussion,
On the cabinet.
On the cabinet.
Yeah, the cabinet and the percentage of women in cabinet.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you look at the percentage, and you add cabinet level appointments, it gets to 10 women in the cabinet. And you also have to remember, and this is where we get it wrong, in trying to fight for equality and equal representation.
Gender equality.
Both the gender and the representation of the youth. Where we get it wrong is this. We can have people who are not necessarily women or youth, but they push for policies that are friendly to the women and the youth. So it does not mean just because 100% of them are not youth, that the youth are not represented. We can have 100% youth, but it's 100% of youth that have no ideas. They cannot push policies for the youth, and maybe they are corrupt. So what I'm saying is they don't have to be necessarily one of our own, let's say youth or women. But they have to be people who push for the policies of the youth and the policies of the women. And they work in hand with the women and the youth of this country to ensure that there's good environment for them to do business, for them to live a good life that is dignified and a life of freedom. But if you look at the cabinet, we can say 50% is women. And you look at the Kenya Kwanza women, most of them have been voted into government. If you look at the governors, we have 7 governors. 6 of them are now in Kenya Kwanza. One was in Wiper, Machakos governor, Wavinya Ndeti. She's now she's working with government. We have independent governor for
Meru County.
For Meru. She's in Kenya Kwanza. So you see, even in terms of the governors, Kenya Kwanza has empowered women to the point that 6 out of the 7 are from Kenya Kwanza.
Okay, thank you for defending the Kenya Kwanza government that it made the threshold for 50% as it had promised Kenyans. Okay, now, looking at this cabinet, without cabinet, there is no government. When the cabinet sleeps, government sleeps. Looking at this cabinet for Kenya Kwanza, as it was unveiled by the president, Dr. William Ruto, waiting to be approved by the National Assembly. And the National Assembly. Do you think that the youth are comfortable that indeed out of the 22 ministries, they have some slots, or they were given some ministries that if a youth looks at it, he might feel good and says that indeed hii serikali ni ya mahasla na sisi kama youth tuko ndani.
I think if you look at the constitution of the cabinet, you look at the regional balance.
Yeah.
We have CSS from all the regions of the country. In fact, if anyone should be rejoicing, it is the communities that have in the past been marginalized because they have people on that post. Apart from that, what I can say is you've talked about youth and their spaces in the cabinet.
Yeah, youth, exactly. The youth, representation of the youth
in cabinet. So what I'm saying, the cabinet is not only made of 22 people. We have principal secretaries. We have CASs. And CASs, it was not in law before in the past regime, but it's being worked on now to make sure that we do it in a way that is constitutional and is right. That's why I'm telling you, this is a president that is on a mission to make Kenya great. He's following the law in everything he's doing.
Okay.
So and if you've seen the regional balance, you see the balance in terms of gender. We've seen, and we are going to see the youth in these other positions of the principal secretary. We're going to see more CISs and any other post that is within cabinet. So I believe the youth have their place in cabinet, and as I've said before, we don't necessarily need to see like 15 out of 22 youth in cabinet first to say we are represented.
Not necessarily 15,
the only thing we need
yeah,
is people who are going to push policies that will be friendly for the youth. Because the youth are the majority. We are the ones who run business. We are the ones who provide labor. We are the ones who feel the pinch of the economy, because we still have a future to fight for, you know. Yeah, so I believe we need people who will push for policies that are friendly for the youth, not necessarily youth.
Okay, apart from pushing policies, as you put it, you know, what youth needs is to see that at least out of the 22 ministries, was idara moja imetengewa na inaongozwa na youth. Like, for example, if it is sports, culture and whatever, at least the CS there is youth. So at least youth will feel hata kama wamepewa kamoja hivi wako ndani ya serikali. But if they find that all the 22 ministries, none has been given to the youth, watasema walichezwa.
I think you're trying to keep us in a loop of youth representation.
How?
Because, as I've said, we only need people who are going to push for youth-friendly policies.
Okay.
People who are going to work hand in hand with the youth of this country.
Okay.
And we haven't said the youth will not be represented. Okay. We still have a lot of posts to wait for.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of appointments to wait and see. So what I can say now is we wait and see. We look at the list of the principal secretaries. And when the CAS's post go through, we'll also look at that list.
Okay. Still on the cabinet, Mr. Korir.
Yeah.
If I look at this cabinet for Kenya Kwanza, there are some cabinet secretaries who are appointed by the president. But indeed, these people, they still have integrity issues. Their cases are pending in courts. But here, Kenyans are seeing them. They have been appointed by the president to serve them. Don't you think that Kenyans will feel that integrity issue is not a concern when it comes to serving us?
You know, for one, you're innocent until proven guilty, unless the law has changed. But that is what I know.
Yeah.
Number two, we all know what happened between 2017.
During
now, after the handshake.
2018.
After the handshake.
Yeah.
So we all know that the criminal justice system was used to fight anybody who aligned with the deputy president then. Yeah? It was used as a political tool. And even that aside, being appointed as a CS does not mean the law is suspended. The law is not suspended. Yeah. The judiciary is independent from what we've seen in the pronouncements they have made. So even a cabinet secretary will be followed. And if there will be evidence, and if there will be enough, evidence, it's absolute evidence, I think, for criminal cases. Then the law will be followed.
Okay, exactly.
Being a cabinet secretary has not made them immune. It has not suspended the law for them. And they're still innocent until proven guilty.
Okay, that is exactly what I was about to ask you. Suppose now the National Assembly approves them now to serve, because I can see the two cabinet secretaries with pending cases. We have cabinet secretary for public surveys, affirmative action and gender, that is Aisha Jumwa. We also have cabinet secretary for livestock and agriculture, that is Linturi Thuka. They still have pending cases in the court of law. So suppose these cabinet secretaries, the court finds them guilty. What will happen to those ministries? Are they going to be slashed out?
The law will take its course. There's a procedure to be followed. There's a procedure, so the procedure will be followed.
So suppose they are proven guilty. Are they going to be jailed?
We are not
Because
sure if the court will decide. That is before court. So we cannot talk on, we are not the court. We cannot say what if they're jailed or not. We are not here to presume and make assumptions. We are here to talk about things we have on hand. That is something that will be decided by the courts. That is something that will be decided according to the evidence we'll have or not have. So it is not something we can discuss with substantive knowledge on.
Okay, thank you for answering to that question and responding it wisely. Now, looking at still at the cabinet. In this cabinet, we have ministries that are major ministries. That, the other ministries, hata ukiuliza mtoto wa chekechea, if you happen to meet him and ask him, who is the cabinet secretary for trade? Utasema, sijui. Who is the cabinet secretary for maybe sports and whatever? You'll respond, I don't know. We have 4 major ministries. That is health, we have education, we have interior, and another one is what? Let's use those.
We can use those as examples.
Looking at the previous government, we had Dr. Fred Matiang'i serving as the cabinet secretary for interior. He did it perfectly. He came up with policies that were not there. He initiated so many policies. He put this ministry into order. He corrected it. Now it has been given to Kinduke Kithure. According to your analysis, according to your political experience, do you think Kindiki will deliver it more than Matiang'i did? Because that is a ministry that has no joke.
Before I answer that, I don't think the police is in line yet. We still have a lot of extrajudicial killings going on. We still have police officers committing suicide. We still have a lot of problems in the North Rift. You look at Baringo and Turkana East. So the police force still has challenges. He did improve, yes. It was quite an improvement, but it is still not in line. And I believe Kithure Kindiki is a leader. There's a difference between a politician and a leader. He has the credentials of a leader. He's a sober man. He's a man who knows what to do. He's a man who has experience. And he's a good administrator. And I believe we are going to see changes as time goes. We cannot judge a man even before he does his work.
Starting working.
We have to give them time. And this is the first time these people are becoming CSs. So we'll have to give them a bit of benefit at the beginning.
Let's give them some time and see if they will deliver or they will not deliver. Kenyans are there watching, they're waiting to see if really Kinduke Kithure and other cabinet secretaries will deliver accordingly.
And my highlight for the cabinet, by the way, is 2. The Treasury CS, Njuguna Ndungu. He was the governor of the Central Bank of Kenya during Kibaki's time when we enjoyed...
The Treasury Secretary.
And it is a time where we enjoyed a very good economy. So we'll be seeing, this is a technocrat. This is a man who he knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So we are going to see a lot of changes. Another highlight for me is Kipchumba Murkomen, the cabinet secretary for roads, transport and infrastructure. Not infrastructure, public works. So we've seen the contributions he's made in Parliament, in the Senate. So we are going to see the contributions he'll make.
Okay, but Mr. Korir, you have a good point when mentioning and highlighting those cabinet secretaries and defending them on how they are going to deliver it effectively. Now, let's look at some of the cabinet secretaries that you have mentioned.
Yeah.
Do you think that when the president is appointing these cabinet secretaries to work and serve as the cabinet secretaries, does he consider profession, careers? For example, if you did commerce, now you are placed in a ministry that is related to commerce. Because talking about Kipchumba Murkomen, I'll give you time. I'll give you time. Okay. Talking about Kipchumba Murkomen, Kipchumba Murkomen is a man who is known for legal matters. He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Now, he has been given a ministry that deals with the transport and all that means what it entertains. Do you think there is an idea that's going to be shared between legality and transport to deliver effectively?
I don't think you'll have to have done engineering or that kind of a course for you to be a cabinet secretary for roads or infrastructure. I think that's a position that needs leadership. And if you have seen, and leadership is cross-cutting. If you have shown leadership in the Senate, if you have shown leadership even in private capacity or any other role you have been given to lead, then it means you can provide leadership in any sector that you're given, because the principles of leadership do not change. That is why if it took you to do a certain course for you to be appointed for a certain post in government, then the requirement would be that let's have presidents do political science. It's not a requirement. It's not a requirement. We've had presidents who've not done political science and they have performed very well, you know? And you don't have to do political science for you to be a politician. Yeah? So what I'm saying is, Kipchumba Murkomen did not have to do engineering.
For him to be given that ministry.
Yeah, for him to be the CS. Yeah. The only thing he needed to do was to show that he can lead, and he has done that before in different capacities. Yeah. We look at Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria in the Ministry of Trade, this is a man who has history. Moses Kuria has history in banking and commerce. Yeah. He's an economist, and he took part in the formulation of the plan, the economic plan of Kenya Kwanza. So this is he has knowledge in terms of the manifesto they gave. He has professional knowledge, and I believe he has the knowledge that he's going to use to deliver. So yes, of course, and you know our president has a think tank. Yeah. He has people behind him who he consults before he makes decisions, and he appoints people on merit. Yeah. So no doubt. Okay. No doubt that everybody in cabinet is worth.
Okay, thank you for responding to that question accordingly. This is the dialogue. We're continuing our discussion in the House. Now, back to our discussion again, Mr. Korir. If I remember very well, in 2017, not necessarily 2017, 2013, the now president, President William Ruto, was the second in command in the Jubilee government. They opposed with his boss that no single politician should be appointed to work to the cabinet. That no single politician should be appointed to work as a cabinet secretary. We only had around 3. If I remember, we had Charity Ngilu and maybe Najib Balala. In 2017, before the handshake, where the marriage started going wrong, in 2017, when things were working systematically, they also opposed the same thing, that no single politician should be appointed as a member of cabinet or to work and serve as cabinet secretary. We only had around 8, and with a standing warning from the president and his deputy that you should not play politics, but work and deliver to Kenyans. Now, we have the Kenya Kwanza government, 2022. They have been given the sword. And we are seeing that out of the 22 cabinet secretaries, 16 of them, actually 16, are leaning politician. Yeah. Do you think that the president, Dr. William Ruto, who was the deputy president in 2017, has done what he was opposing?
I don't think it was opposing. The idea of having technocrats in government was an idea. And it was an idea between two people. So we might not know who between the two people it came from. And it's only a fool who does not change his mind.
So you mean the rest are fools?
No, what I'm saying is the president is not a fool. Yeah.
Because he changed his mind.
And yes. And we've seen what technocrats have put us through. We've seen that these people, for starters, the idea was these people in the private sector, and they're performing well in the private sector.
Yeah.
If we bring them into government, that means the government will perform as well as the private sector. Yeah. That was the whole idea behind it. But the reason why people perform well in the private sector is not because they are good people.
Yeah.
It is not because they are necessarily principled. It is because the private sector it's a place that is structured. And it has established consequences. A wrong move, you're fired. Promotion has to be on merit. So if you take that person out of there and you bring them into the government is a place, it's very free, it does not have a lot of restrictions. So if you bring them into government, then they'll tend to go back to who they were before they went into the private sector. At the end of the day, we're all Kenyans, and we know who we are as Kenyans. And again, we've had technocrats. Our economy has performed badly. We've had a technocrat as the Interior Cabinet Secretary. Still, we've seen the extrajudicial killings. We've seen police officers committing suicide. We've seen the criminal justice system being used for political purposes. So it does not mean that technocrats are very different from politicians. Okay. And now that we have politicians in government, they'll understand the weight. They'll understand the weight of delivering to the people, because Kenyans now are looking at politicians and they have a marking scheme saying this is what you promised. Have you done it? And they'll be going back to the people to ask for votes. So we need people who are connected to the people and people who, when called to parliament to answer questions, they'll come and they'll answer the questions that are supposed to answer. Because you remember, technocrats would go to parliament, they would look down upon legislators, they would answer questions like they are forced to be there. They were like angels they are like angels dealing with humans.
Okay, before we move out from the cabinet, comparing to the previous government, the Jubilee government actually, under the leadership of former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we saw some of the cabinet secretaries playing politics, something that annoyed members from the other side who are Kenya Kwanza before the August election. We saw somebody like Fred Matiang'i, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary, that is Peter Munya, Joe Musheru, PS for transport. We saw those cabinet secretaries playing politics. But the constitution bars them from playing politics. Yet, the Kenya Kwanza government, headed by President William Ruto, he gave a standing warning that no single politician or no single cabinet secretaries should be involved into politics. Now the problem has come whereby all those 16 politicians have been appointed into the same cabinet to work as cabinet secretaries. Do you think they will kill their career of politicking? Talking of Kipchumba Murkomen, talking of Aden Duale, that Kenyans know that these are real politicians who knows how to politic. Do you think?
These people are not going into cabinet in their capacity as politicians. They are going into cabinet in the capacity of a leader. So what they're supposed to provide in cabinet is leadership. And they understand one thing. The mindset of Kenyans is changing. Kenyans are no longer giving votes because you know how to talk, you're a good politician, you talk this way or that way. No, Kenyans are now giving politicians those jobs based on what they've done for them. In 2022, we have a lot of people, big names, that have fallen because they did not deliver for their people. So Kenyans are moving away from being attracted to good politics. They're now attracted to substance. Yeah. What have you done? You promised this. Have you delivered? This is what we need in our constituency. but you have not done it. This is what we need here, but we're not seeing it happen. We're not seeing you in parliament. So Kenyans have moved from saying you're a good politician, you talk so well, you make us laugh, now we'll give you votes. People are saying, we want to see your promises and we want to see you deliver. So the only thing they need to do is to deliver in their ministries.
Okay. Mr. Korir, you have seen this before, whereby if you don't perform good in your ministry, you are either slashed out or reshuffled. Now suppose people like Murkomen, people like Duale perform poorly. They don't deliver accordingly as Kenyans expect of them to deliver. And then the National Assembly slashes them out. Do you think they will stop doing politics because they were cabinet secretaries?
The moment you stop being a cabinet secretary, then you can take back your role of being a politician. Now you'll go back to where you hang your boots of politics and take them. But I cannot say if they fail because I don't believe they will.
Oh, okay.
And I know we are not here to draw assumptions.
Yeah, okay, because we have not seen their work.
Yeah, they're getting used to their offices. Yeah. So let us give them time.
Okay, where the concern comes is in their respective regions where they're coming from, like in Garissa Township, automatically we are going to have by-elections. Yeah. And in Elgeyo Marakwet, we're also going to have by-election.
Yeah. That is an interesting one.
Now, suppose that these people, now they have been forced to resign from the elective positions because they are now cabinet secretaries. Now, suppose to some extent, because I'm not so sure if they will serve as cabinet secretaries for full first term, because you have seen this before in previous governments. Cabinet secretary keep on reshuffling, others being kicked out from their ministries and others replacing them. Now, these people have been forced to resign from their elective position. Suppose they are slashed out or kicked out. Don't you think they will have lost their card in elective positions?
And what would be the reason for them being slashed out?
Like, the reason might come maybe where one of them is involved in maybe corruption scandals, because you never know, by the way.
Then that
Though I've not said that they will be involved.
Then that is on them. How are we supposed to talk about that? That is on them. If they are fired because of corruption scandals or they are fired because of non-performance, then it's on them. It has nothing to do with us.
Okay. Your work is to see them deliver.
We want to see delivery. Even us in Kenya Kwanza want to see delivery. And we will keep the government in check where we see it's going wrong, because our president said that he was told by Paul Mute that the best way for you to support a government is to criticize it when it goes wrong. So we are going to fully support his government.
Okay, this is Mr. Joshua Korir, a youth political analyst. He's doing the best and is answering questions systematically. Okay, let's move out from the cabinet a bit and take you somewhere else about the issue of majority and minority. This thing has given a headache to members of the National Assembly. Where do you think this card will land? Because there's Mio, one who lost the election, they're demanding or they're claiming that the constitution qualifies them to claim that they are the majority in the House. Then the government, which is the Kenya Kwanza, says on the other side that numbers don't lie. So are we going to follow the constitution and give the majority to the opposition party, or are we going to base facts on numbers and give the majority to the government coalition party?
If it walks like a duck.
How?
It quacks like a duck and it looks like a duck. Then definitely it's a duck. What I'm saying is we've had two elections within the two houses of parliament, of speakers and their deputies. And all of them have been taken by Kenya Kwanza. So it is obvious where the numbers are. And if you say that the Azimio has numbers on paper, Azimio is a coalition party. The only candidate they had was Raila Odinga, the presidential candidate. The rest were in ODM, Wiper, and all the other parties, Jubilee. So we already have evidence of Kenya Kwanza having numbers in both houses of parliament. Now, if you look at let's decide to go to look at the paper. Yeah. You remember this coalition was put together using intimidation,
There's me.
threats, and blackmail.
But are you sure that these people are intimidated? Because I've not seen anyone claiming that he was intimidated.
You haven't seen anyone claiming.
Maybe tell me.
But you're a media, you're supposed to have this knowledge.
But as you people put it, that this is just a political game, whatever.
What is a political game?
That when you talk about the other side for Kenya Kwanza, before the election, they will say that it is the government that is pushing them to do this. That is the government that is pushing them to do this. They're referring now to the
but
government.
That is what was happening. So unless you're a visitor in Jerusalem, or you landed from moon today, you know what happened during campaigns.
So you mean that we have some of the political parties that were created through intimidation from Azimio?
I'm saying members were whipped into Kenya Kwanza, into Azimio, using intimidation. I only say Kenya Kwanza because it's close to my heart. I say it all the time.
No problem. I get it.
Yeah, so they were whipped into supporting Azimio using threats. Yeah. And the only people who stayed in Kenya Kwanza are people who, you remember when Rigiji said, yeah, ni chuma. Yeah. So the people who remained in Kenya Kwanza are people who are strong, people who could take intimidations, people who could be arrested on Friday, be comfortable being in cells until Monday and leave. People who are okay with being arrested by almost 500 officers. So a lot of people are intimidated, and now they smelled the freedom. And now you've seen people running to Kenya Kwanza in droves.
Okay. Basing your facts on that, why do we have this constitution in our country if the same politician cannot follow the constitution? If Azimio claims that indeed the constitution abides them, gives them the right to demand and claim the majority roles.
No, it does not. If they were a coalition, then they would have something substantive to debate on. They are not a coalition. They are a coalition party. So members of the coalition party are the ones who would be forced to stay. The candidate of the coalition party was only Raila Odinga.
And the rest?
The rest were candidates in ODM, Jubilee, which are other parties.
But you see, before the election, if I remember it, there was this bill that was approved in the parliament that Azimio, which helped Azimio to be formed as Azimio-1 Kenya coalition as a political party.
Exactly, and that is where they cooked their own. They lit their own fire and they cooked themselves.
Now, this is where I base my knowledge, or where I base my question, where I pose my question is that if indeed this coalition was formed and signed by those members from other small minority parties to form a coalition party, to act now as a party, then you find the same party leaders from the minority who sign agreements to form the Azimio as to become a coalition party defected without following the same procedure that was used to join into the coalition party. Don't you think they did fair or unfair game?
It's a very fair game.
How? Because they did not follow the constitution, right?
They're not members of Azimio Coalition Party. They're members of smaller parties.
But they signed an agreement abiding them that they are members of not only Azimio Coalition, but Azimio Coalition Party.
No, as far as I'm concerned, they signed an agreement to be part of Azimio-1 Kenya Alliance Coalition.
Yeah.
The coalition party meant, if it was really to be a party, it means that all the other parties within the coalition would be broken. The same way Jubilee came up. We had the National Alliance, we had URP, and very many other parties that were broken to make Jubilee Party. Yeah. So that would be the same procedure they should have followed in the case that they wanted to have something concrete to discuss now. Yeah. But that did not happen, so they cannot claim anything.
Okay. So, coming back again to this discussion, Mr. Korir, there is this issue that is popping up about the CDF, that the court declared CDF unconstitutionally. But looking on CDF projects or where the CDF, how CDF funds were being managed, we see that indeed the CDF funds have been trying to help so many people. That you can meet someone who is a university graduate telling you that I graduated because of my CDF and my MP. That this school was built because of the CDF. That all this project I'm saying, it's because of the CDF. Now court comes, poop, and declared it unconstitutional. Does it mean that now CDF funds are not going to be disbursed for them to initiate those projects?
No, I watched a gentleman on TV. It was one of the gentlemen who were pushing for the removal of CDF.
Yeah.
He was proudly saying that he's very proud it's been removed, and we are now going to be constitutional, blah, 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 whatever. But they have a way of identifying what they feel is wrong, but they don't give solutions. What will happen to the millions of pupils and students who are getting bursaries?
That's exactly
CDF?
my concern too.
What will happen to the projects that are being run by the CDF?
That's where the concern comes.
Because this is a project that has had direct impact on the lives of Kenyans, direct. Yeah. So what will happen to them? Because you're taking something away from the people without giving a solution. And that in itself is not, it is not providing leadership, because I believe every Kenyan is supposed to provide leadership. If you identify a problem, before you come to us and say, let us, it's like they've dealt with the problem halfway, because they've removed CDF. They're not giving us a solution. Yeah? And from what I know, the CDF that has been outlawed is the one from the 2013.
The 2013 Act, and not the 2015 one.
Yeah, we still have NG-CDF.
Oh.
And these people are legislators.
Yeah.
They legislate.
They make the law.
So if it's not in law, they'll put it into law. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is something that will bring everyone together, both government, opposition, the executive. So it is not really something to make us feel like...
Okay, there are so many members with so many questions who are concerned about the CDF and if this CDF was unconstitutional, and they were worried about if really their funds will be disbursed for them to get bursaries and also continue with their project, build hospitals, build health centers, and build schools. But in the House, our analyst tells us that the CDF Act of 2013 is the one that was declared unconstitutional, but not NGC CDF. Yeah. The NGC CDF will funds will be disbursed there. Am I right? Okay. Now, some Kenyans maybe might be hopeful that these CDF funds will be disbursed and projects will be initiated, and maybe bursaries will be gotten by needy, bright students. Mr. Korir, back to our discussion. President William Ruto has taken this economy with a lot of debt. And what is interesting is that this debt was taken when he was the deputy president. Right now, if I'm not wrong, that Kenyan economy as it stands now, it has a debt of over 8.7 trillion.
Yeah.
That is yet to be paid. So you find that tax collected from citizens is being paid on Kenyan debt. So how is this going to be possible for him to manage paying debts as well as making Kenyan life simple, easy?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
That is a very good question. Now, the president, a few days ago, talked about savings.
Okay.
And we've been taking loans from other countries.
Yeah.
And these countries have been saving. So we've been taking loans from their savings.
Yeah.
And we're paying it back with interest.
Yeah.
So they are doing very good business.
Yeah.
And the citizens are also enjoying. And he also said, Tanzania is saving more than we are saving. Uganda the same.
Yeah.
Smaller economies than our own. So I think the program of saving will help us in a very big way.
Yeah.
But I believe before we start talking about saving, it means that we need to get our systems in check, NSSF, so that we're not pushing ourselves to save, but we're saving for a few individuals. We're going to enjoy our money without having worked for it. So I believe working on our systems and saving is a way that it will enable us to run our own projects without having to borrow from outside. Another thing is to restructure our loans. Our president was at the United Nations General Assembly, and he was asking the lenders that they should relook at the loans, considering we've had COVID and we've had bad economic times. We restructured the loans because we took commercial loans. The thing about commercial loans is that commercial loans take a short time. You have to pay it in a very short time, but you pay very high interest. We have concessional loans. It's over a long period of time. You pay it slowly. So restructuring our loans is also something that should be done to help us. And another issue is we don't have to borrow where we don't need. Where we don't need the loan. Because, for example, in the past regime, we've had a lot of unbudgeted projects. We've had a lot of phantom projects. We've had a lot of projects that have the cost of doing the projects have been inflated badly. So we need to be careful with how we spend our money. And I think it's not just a government culture, it's a Kenyan culture. Because in as much as we don't save, we fuliza to go and piga sherehe, So it's also a Kenyan culture.
And you don't pay the
fuliza
alone.
And you don't pay the fuliza. So that is why 14 million of us are in the CRB. And I also think that my idea is that we should have classes on financial well-being.
Like literacy classes to educate people, or what do you mean?
To educate people on finances. But let us have it in schools. Let us have a subject in primary school, and in secondary school and in campus, where you're taught on investments, saving, money market funds, even forex and all those things. If you can teach this in schools, it means children will grow up with the knowledge of how money works. So it will already be embedded in them, so that when they grow, they know what to do with money, how money works, and how to make it multiply.
Okay, Mr. Korir, I'm trying to get and digest your point on that. So now my question comes, this is where my question comes exactly. That, do you think Kenya Kwanza government will also borrow, even if it's 1 shilling, to add to the debt that the Jubilee government borrowed? Or Kenya Kwanza will come up with policies to ensure that it clears the debt that Kenya has and come up with strategies to ensure that Kenyans borrow externally and not internally?
I think borrowing is borrowing, whether it's internal or external. The only difference is the deal you're getting from what you're borrowing. If you're getting a good deal outside and the deal domestically is bad, then you go for the foreign loan. But if the domestic loan is cheaper, then go for the domestic loan. But running on loans is not a sustainable way for us to run an economy. But it is not inevitable. At some point, we might have to borrow.
Okay, Mr. Korir, thank you for that, for responding to that question. I know we have so many questions to talk about. We have so many things to talk about. But before we jump out on that topic, Mr. Korir, there is something that I don't want to forget. That when the president, Dr. William Ruto, was campaigning, he actually said that he promised to review the salaries of all officers in the security sector to align them with the cost of living, and how he's going to deliver with the cost of living, so that he's going to review the salaries given to officers. And looking at the situation as it stands right now, the economy is at worst. Citizens are crying. The debt is waiting to be paid. Then there is this salary review. Do you think that it will be possible for the president to add salary to these officers and other public servants?
I think it's possible, because things are being done systematically. So they're not doing everything at once. You sort out one problem, you come sort out another. So you sort out, let's say, the debt problem, you sort out the economic problem, then you come sort out the money problem for the officers. And I believe it's about time that they are paid well, that they are given good allowances, even health allowances, that they are taken care of. You know, these are like our bodyguards. Our bodyguards of all Kenyans. They risk their lives for us. They provide us with security, and they deserve to live a dignified life. So it is good that it is being reviewed, and more needs to be done. It's only the beginning, I believe, and we need to see our police officers live a dignified and good life. In other places, children grow up wanting to be police officers because of how the police officers are treated and how they are dignified. So we need to also get there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joshua Korir, for responding to that question. You are watching The Dialogue by Brian Muli, and I know we have so many things to talk about, we have so many things to discuss, but because of time, we'll be having another dialogue next week, same time, with different guests, or we'll also invite Mr. Korir once another time. We'll also give him another opportunity to come and finish and deliver on his content. You are watching The Dialogue. Maybe before I wind up, maybe let me invite Korir to say hi to his viewers as we wind up.
My closing statement as a Kenyan, I believe it's upon all of us to make sure that our government works the way it should. It is not a one-man job. It is not just the job of the government. It will also take the cooperation of all of us as Kenyans. So let us work to ensure that we carry ourselves in a way that become citizens who are responsible and work towards having a government that works for everyone. And I believe it's doable, it's possible. It's been done before. Elsewhere, it can be done here. And we can also talk about the security, the North Rift. Maybe next time.
Next time actually.
Next time when we have this means we need more time. You should be having me more and more. So that we can discuss a lot of these issues.
Thank you, Mr.
It's good to be here. It's good to share a platform with you. I look forward to sharing more platforms and to taking conversations forward. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joshua Korir. You are watching The Dialogue by Brian Muli, your host, and the guest was Joshua Korir, who is a youth policy analyst. Thank you, and may God bless you.